Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I am Ryder of Dinosaurs. In today's video, we look at Professor Kyle from the Flat Earth Institute. You know, the bouncy shadows guy.
Now I'm going to stick my finger in that light and bounce my shadow.
So, what's Professor Kyle up to this time? He's teaching a class on how Google Maps looks weird and explains in about 40 seconds how GPS works. You don't believe me? Then let's watch.
Hello and welcome. All right, let's get right to it. Right off the bat, let's ask this question. What is the most accurate kind of map? It's a photograph.
Our survey said...
It's not only important to know that this is wrong, but why? Look at this picture from Google Maps. Let me ask you, how accurately can you tell the distance from these two locations? Here's another photograph. Can you accurately tell me where this is? Neither can I. You want to know why? Because I turned off all the labels and wandered through the map looking for a good image to find. All I can say, it's in Wales, UK. Let's look at this last one. Can you tell me the name of this river? I actually can tell you because I've been there before. This river's name is on how you stand on the globe Earth. The Nile. See what I did there? The Nile. A joke? Moving on.
And so long as you are taking a picture of the flat Earth, you have a flat Earth map.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
All right, here we are in Google Maps. This is Brisbane, Australia, or Brisbane as they call it down there.
Did he just say down there? I thought the Earth was flat. According to him, of course. Let's hear it again, just to be sure.
Or Brisbane, as they call it down there.
Oh my! Did we just admit something we didn't want to, like the Earth being a sphere? It's not like the concept of up and down is correct, but I've never heard a flat earther saying that Australia is down there.
And let's go ahead and switch this over to satellite view.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and zoom out. And you tell me when to stop when something smells fishy to you.
Okay.
Brisbane is very close to the sea and close to a place called Fisherman's Island. So smelling fishy wouldn't be very difficult now, would it?
I see a lot of like stripes on the map.
Okay. You've got rows.
Columns.
Or columns.
No. You don't get away that easy, Professor Kyle. Does this mean that you don't know the difference between rows and columns because you clearly said rows when they're clearly columns? And you got corrected, of course. So you know the difference. Here's a little illustration for you, Professor Kyle. So, as you can see from this illustration, columns run vertical, from top to bottom, and rows run horizontal, like that thing you guys always talk about, the horizon. Now that you know the difference, let's continue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you learned.
Do you think those are real? Whoa, check out the water over here.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really interesting. Really interesting.
Do you think a real satellite went out and did that?
It doesn't seem very
likely.
I don't think so.
I've been in plenty of planes in my life. I've never seen anything like that.
You would think that someone as smart as Professor Kyle would know that Google Maps satellite images are a ton of photographs stitched together, right? So why do we see these columns? I believe we're seeing pictures of the smoke caused by the Australian bushfires, when the fires were active, but that's just my opinion. Also, while commenting on this video, I started to wonder, why did Professor Kyle choose Australia for his example? So I looked elsewhere. If this is, as he implies, fake, then it would show everywhere, right? So as I look at the Statue of Liberty and I zoomed as much as I couldn't find the same columns as he did. Funny that. I went back to Brisbane, Australia, of course, and I went west, like he did on his video. But I went further. And would you look at that? No more columns. Shocking. On a quick note, yes, I did notice he was implying that he's never seen those rows on the actual terrain as seen from an airplane. But since the comment was too ridiculous, I just decided not to make any comments on it.
All right, so here we've centered ourselves in between the columns.
Okay.
Does that look very far away to you?
Well, not much farther away than maybe a plane would fly.
Okay. So, what do you think is going on here?
Well, I would, because of the columns or the strips, it kind of looks like a plane might be flying over and just getting an image capture in strips and maybe pasting them together.
Because that's how it works, right? Look at some of those strips, quote unquote, are wider than the others, and some of them are thinner around the middle. It's just don't. Let's continue.
Because as you zoom out a little, and you can see
all these different things getting stitched together,
Yeah.
the pictures.
Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like to me, anyways.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This, if it's a satellite that's taking these pictures, it must be a pretty low-flying satellite.
Yeah. And zoom out a little, or more. Okay, so it changes right there.
It seems that the concept of how Google Maps really works escaped these people.
Okay, so what is going on over on the right? What is all that? It looks like... That does not look like a photograph at all. At least not from a camera I would use.
Yeah.
It's like super blurry. It does not look like water. Zoom out more, please.
That doesn't look like water.
She was then known as No Shit Sherlock.
For the next 48 seconds, I'm not going to interrupt them. I'm just going to let it play so you can observe the level of unintelligent dialogue between these two. Its depth puts the Mariana Trench to shame.
I don't... What kind of... It still says it's satellite, right? Are you...
It's still in satellite view,
Okay.
but all of the ocean, it's just the big blue.
Wait. Okay. When you zoom in, oh, that's beautiful. That looks like water. It looks like a photograph, a satellite, quote, image.
And all of a sudden,
Now
what
zoom
is
out
this?
again.
Why would they have to do that? Why are they editing out all of that?
And it's not lazy pilots. It's what's happened to their satellite.
Yeah, what happened to their satellite? It's all
It doesn't
gone.
want to go over the water.
First of all, the music you can hear is from the original video. I had nothing to do with it. And it couldn't be more perfect. It feels like they're just, I don't know, trolling themselves. As for what was just said, how do I even start to unpack this? Can it even be done? It's like they've never seen satellite images of the bottom of the sea. We do get pictures of water closer to the coast. There are blurry areas where the pictures would have a little less detail, maybe because there's nothing interesting there, or I don't know, maybe the bottom of the sea has not been scanned, or pictures have been taken with more detail. But I don't know what they were expecting. Just water where there was no land?
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby, cause this one's a screamer!
Well, it's a really convenient way to cover things up. Literally. Literally covering things up.
This is so strange to me. Okay, well, zoom out more. I want to see more.
Yeah. So if we wanted to fake something in the map and stitch pictures together to shorten things here or lengthen things out here, where would you want to do that?
I guess the part that people are not living in. There's no homes out in the ocean.
Yeah, if you're going to do it out in the ocean where it's all covered
Look
up.
at this. Are those waves? Maybe?
I don't even know what all this, the weird stitching. And...
Oh, really, really strange.
This is a good example of what I previously mentioned. They don't know what they're looking at. Spending a few minutes looking this up, I found this.
Only a small fraction of the seafloor has ever been mapped at high resolution. Detailed maps require expensive, specially equipped boats. Typically these boats travel from major ports, then go back and forth across the ocean floor over an interesting area. NOAA publishes maps of the paths used by their boats. Kelly Kochansky, Ph.D. Geology and Snow Science, University of Colorado Boulder, 2020.
I've heard people talk about, oh, there's giant worms crawling on the bottom of the ocean, like enormous things, but it's all a fake image.
I feel like some of these...
It's clear CGI as it can get.
It's definitely CGI.
And of course they had to go there. They wouldn't be flat earthers if they didn't. It's always the old, it's CGI excuse. But evidence? None.
I mean, that's just strange. Okay. Fascinating.
So what kind of satellite do you think was used for taking those photos? One like this? Or one like this?
A little pet peeve I have is when people make videos and present things before they are supposed to appear. One would think Professor Kyle would know how to do this, but as evidence shows, he doesn't.
Well, obviously the airplane-looking one, because the satellite in space, it wouldn't need to create the columns or the pasted effect, because it's just out in space so it can see the whole image, versus the plane is so much closer to the ground, creating the strips.
I don't know how many more times we have to explain this, but here it goes again. Relatively speaking, satellites are close to our planet, too close to have a full view of it. It's like you're 2 feet away from a building looking at it. Can you see the whole building? Those satellites are in low orbit, which means they are around 700 kilometers away. The exception is the Imagery 8 satellite, which can take a photo of half of the planet, the half it can see. But he's 35,793 kilometers away, also known as high orbit. Did you get it now?
So my guess is the airplane.
So why would they need these when they have those?
I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
And that is one reason why I find those really hard to believe in.
Okay, Buster, gloves off. But before I start, let's just clarify which is which. Professor Kyle calls the airplane these and the satellite those.
So why would they need these when they have those?
Just to make everything clear, all right? Let's have a look at the intellectual dishonesty Professor Kyle is using to promote his narrative. And for that, let's look at the airplane satellite. And I'll address Professor Kyle directly. You rely on your viewers to be sheep who will agree to anything you say without fact-checking. But not here, Buster. The image you've shown is, in itself, CGI, which is ironic to say the least. But unlike you, I can provide evidence of what I say. Here is your image. Here is the image from a website called TurboSquid, where people sell their 3D CGI creations for animation, games, etc. Same image. And in any case his fanboys are watching, there will be a link in the description to this page. It's also funny that for someone who claims to teach people, you failed to name this airplane. I wonder why. No worries, I'll do it for you. It's called RQ-11B Raven. And why is this important? Simple. The RQ-11B Raven is used by the US Army, and it's a small unmanned aircraft system that provides reconnaissance, surveillance, target acquisition, and force protection for the battalion commander and below during day and night operations. Note the word small. Now, let's look at the stats, shall we? Wingspan, 4.5 feet. Weight, 4.2 pounds. Range, 10 kilometers. Endurance, 90 minutes at 300 feet above ground level or higher. And this is how they launch it. And again, if any of the fanboys are crying foul, the link is in the description. Now please, tell me this is the airplane responsible for the photos on Google Maps. Please do it, please.
Alright, so we have two really big issues here with satellites.
One is the firmament.
Yeah, there's a limit to how high satellites can fly.
Oh really, Teach? And how high is that?
And two is, we don't believe their cooling systems are adequate enough to handle the intense amount of solar radiation that they would be exposed to out in the thermosphere.
The problem here, Teach, is that you say you don't believe.
We don't believe,
But, as the meme states, no amount of belief makes something a fact.
Oh yeah, you did a video about that a while back.
we'll go ahead and put a link to that video in the description for anyone who missed it.
With that being said, do we believe all satellites are fake? No.
Of course not. You believe that the fake are real and that the real are fake.
There are quite a few satellites out there that don't have any issues with those two parameters. We don't have any issues with atmospheric satellites. Oddly enough though, many people like the British call these kind of satellites pseudo-satellites.
Well, excuse me. But if the lady actually read until the end of the paragraph, just 34 more words, you'd know that they refer to the atmospheric satellite as a marketing term for an aircraft that provides the same services, cheaper, as the ones provided by an artificial satellite orbiting in space. But I guess reading 34 more words is just too hard. Oh, and because it's an aircraft and not a real satellite, that's why the British call it pseudo-satellite. As in similar, but not exactly it. Provides the same services, but it's not a satellite. Like a glider. It's a pseudo-plane. It flies, but it's not an airplane, is it?
Also meaning fake satellites.
Okay. Well, I just explained it, but fine.
Well, in the meantime, they call the really fake satellites.
A really fake satellite? What does that even mean? Does it mean there's somewhere a not so really fake satellite? Or a not so fake satellite? Please do explain.
The real artificial satellites.
Yeah, go figure, right? Okay, now let's talk about GPS. Understanding these parameters, being below the firmament and below the intense solar radiation in the thermosphere, GPS signals can function via atmospheric satellites.
But would satellites really be necessary if they could just bounce radio signals off of the firmament like ham radios do?
If you haven't seen our video about echoes off the firmament, it is worth watching. There's a link to that in the description.
Thanks for watching!
And that's it. Honest to God, I didn't cut anything. Why not bounce the signal off the firmament and we're done? No explanation, anything. Why even include it? And this is all I have for you today. I know this has been a lot longer than usual, but I couldn't stop halfway. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you on my next video.